France. Oh.
This is Gemma Bovery and husband Charlie.
We just moved here from London. Looking forward to my new life.
L'amour est tout beau.
That's my wife!
L'amour, ça fait mal. Hein?
The movie begins with the introduction of an old man named Martin, who runs a bakery in a small village in France. He came here 7 years ago because his dad's bakery was here, which he now runs. Martin is a very quiet man, and he does not talk much. Then Martin burns it while making bread. Then on asking his wife, he says that he was thinking about Charlie, that he should not commit suicide. His wife says that you should not think about all this, and a wise man never commits suicide. Then Martin arrives at his neighbor Charlie's house, where Charlie is burning his wife Gemma's clothes. Then Charlie goes home for some work. Just then Martin finds Gemma's diary in a box that he keeps with him. When he comes home, Martin starts reading the diary, and then the scene of that day is shown in flashback. The day Charlie came to live in this village for the first time with his wife Gemma, so that they could spend the rest of their lives in this village peacefully. Seeing these two new here, Martin goes to their house and gives his introduction and welcomes them to his village. A few days later, Gemma and Charlie come to Martin's bakery to buy bread. During this, Martin keeps looking at Gemma's beauty. Later on, when Martin is on his way home, Martin meets Gemma, and then Martin takes her to show him a beautiful garden which Gemma likes very much. On that same evening, Charlie visits Martin's residence, mentioning a power outage at his place. Consequently, Martin heads over to rectify the issue, successfully restoring the lights. Meanwhile, Martin's wife also arrives there, and the quartet engages in a spirited conversation over drinks. During this time, Martin's attention consistently drifts to Gemma. Days later, Gemma visits Martin's bakery again, where Martin inquires if she knows about his bread-making process. Agreeing to learn, she follows him to the bakery's back room. As Martin prepares the bread, he asks Gemma about her mood, to which she compares the experience to performing yoga, making Martin comment on his daily yoga routine. The room grows increasingly warm, prompting Gemma to remove her sweater. Martin, captivated, can't help but gaze at Gemma. Subsequently, a new scene unfolds with Martin, his wife, Charlie, and Gemma's friend sharing a meal at home. After this, when Gemma was watching her house with her friend, Gemma's friend told her that girls should always take care of their bodies. That's why she exercises every day. Now this seems to be true for Gemma too. So, she starts exercising the next day. The day ahead, we see Martin. On the way, he meets Gemma. He asks Gemma why she has not come to buy bread for the last many days. On this, Gemma says that she is dieting, so for a few days, she stopped eating bread. Then when Gemma was leaving from there after finishing the talk, suddenly a worm bites in her back. This causes great pain to Gemma. So, she shouts loudly and calls Martin to her and says that some insect has bitten her back. Then Martin checks Gemma's back and tells her that you have been bitten by a poisonous insect. That's why he has to suck out his poison, and here Gemma tells Martin to do this, and Martin immediately starts sucking and coming out. Only then a boy named Harp comes there, and seeing Martin doing this asks him that here what is going on again. Martin is about to understand the situation, and then Gemma falls down and faints. Seeing this, Harp and Martin immediately take him to the hospital, where the doctor says by giving an injection to Gemma. Now there is nothing to panic. While coming back home, Gemma puts her head on Martin's shoulder, which makes Martin very happy, and he starts feeling that Gemma also starts liking him. While watching, Martin guesses after seeing them, and Harp must be asking about Gemma's health, but then later he thinks that these two are going to have an affair one day ahead when Gemma is buying wine in the supermarket. That's when she once again met Harp. Harp tells Gemma his favorite wine. Gemma buys the same wine. Next, we see Martin, who is on his way back home after delivering bread. Only then he sees Gemma going somewhere, so he stops to see him, after which Gemma walks inside Harp's house. After seeing all this, Martin gets tense as to why Gemma must have gone inside Harp's house alone. But his thinking turns out to be wrong, because the same night when he goes to have dinner at Gemma's house, he sees a hickey in Gemma's neck, which makes him understand what must have happened between Harp and Gemma today. Martin is deeply troubled, wishing he were in Harp's position, and blames himself for the day's events, believing if Gemma and Harp hadn't met, none of this would have transpired. The following day, he notices Harp appearing quite stressed and approaches him to inquire about his distress. Harp reveals his struggles with focusing on his studies, prompting Martin to advise him to contact his girlfriend for support. Later, Martin spots Gemma heading out, and soon the audience discovers her enjoying time at Harp's place, confirming her affair with him. Days drift by with Martin consumed by thoughts of Gemma. Eventually, a joyful Gemma visits Martin's bakery. She tells Martin that Charlie has gone to London for a few days. Further, Gemma buys some bread, but she forgets a bread there, so Martin later gives that bread to her. Goes to his house. He hears some voices from inside the house. Actually, Gemma was with Harp inside the house. Next, Martin listens to both of them from the window. Both of them were saying "I love you" to each other, hearing which Martin gets very angry. The following day, Gemma visits Harp's house where she accidentally shatters a cherished idol belonging to Harp's mother. Apologetically, Gemma promises to have it repaired by Charlie. Before departing, she suggests to Harp that they should travel to London, a proposal to which Harp readily agrees. The next day, after discovering a letter, Gemma hastens back to Harp's residence. Upon her arrival, she finds that Harp's mother has returned and is inquiring about the missing idol. On this, the Harp says that there were scratches on the idol, so he has given Charlie nearby to repair it. Here Gemma was coming to meet Harp at his house when he got Harp's message in which he had written that he could not go to London with her. Gemma feels very bad hearing this, and she goes back home crying. Further, Harp's mom comes to Charlie and asks for his idol and says that my son Harp gave you my idol to repair. But Charlie refuses and says that no one has given him any idol to repair it. But Harp that mom leaves from there in anger. After this, in the night, Charlie asks Gemma about the idol, to which Gemma refuses. Here in Companion, we can also see that she was trying to tell something to Charlie, but she could not tell Charlie. Seeing this, we understand that Gemma wanted to tell Charlie about her affair. But here first Charlie gets an idea of this because Gemma was not paying attention to him for a long time. So he goes to London for a few days. Now Gemma finds herself alone, which hurts her a lot. The next day when Martin is on his way out, then he finds Gemma's dog. So he comes to Gemma's house with that dog. At home, Gemma gives him a letter to read, which was written in French. In that letter, Harp's mom was asking about the idol that she thought Charlie had. Further, Gemma asks Martin to write a reply to this letter, but Martin says that he will give it in writing in a day or two. Now, after a few days, Gemma meets her ex-boyfriend Patrick, and in the very next scene, Martin sees both of them kissing on the way. Seeing that, Martin gets shocked, and he starts feeling that Gemma is a characterless girl. After this, when Gemma and Patrick are in the restaurant, that's when Gemma realizes that she is doing wrong. So, she tells Patrick that whatever happened between us, you should forget because I still love my husband Charlie. Upon arriving home, Gemma phones Charlie, confessing her deep love and expressing her inability to live without him. Touched by her words, Charlie becomes emotional and sets out to return to her. Meanwhile, as Gemma speaks with Martin, she learns that a letter intended for Harp was mistakenly sent to Martin. Upon questioning, Martin admits his intention to act independently, motivated by good intentions. Understanding his motives, Gemma doesn't react with anger, but bids him farewell with a kiss. After Martin leaves, Patrick arrives at Gemma's place. While they are alone together in the house, Charlie unexpectedly returns. Then as soon as he goes inside Charlie's house, he immediately comes out and loudly calls Martin for help. When Martin goes inside the house and sees, so he is shocked to see Gemma dead there. Now the police are called, who send Gemma's body for post-mortem. The same night the post-mortem report comes. Then Martin learns from the doctor that Gemma's death is due to bread stuck in her throat. The same thing happens the next day. Martin tells Charlie at the funeral, to which Charlie says that Gemma died because of him, because when he went into the house he saw Patrick pushing Gemma from behind, which he felt after seeing that Patrick is coursing with Gemma. So when he starts fighting with him, Patrick comes there and tells him that when Gemma was eating bread, he was kissing her from behind, due to which the bread got stuck in her throat. While trying to get him out, Charlie came there, and then due to misunderstanding they both got into a fight. Now both of them got so busy in the fight that they did not even think of Gemma, due to which Gemma died of suffocation. Now this is where the flashback ends, and we see in the present that Martin's son comes and tells him that a Russian couple has come to live in our neighborhood. Hearing this, Martin immediately goes to meet him, and with this our movie ends here. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching.